All right. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. They started 10-1 last season, couldn't even win 12 games, got blown out in the playoffs, won one Super Bowl. You suck. Man, I love watching those fucking Eagles crash and burn last year, baby. Oh, brought joy to my heart, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all? Let's spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away. No, in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away with the comments. Plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free and fire away with the comments. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And third membership level I have is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much. I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That would be freaking awesome. And then finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that one in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I like things just the way they are. Don't be changing stuff up on me because I'm too much of an idiot to adapt, right? I'm one of them old-time, get off my lawn kind of old-time farts, right? Keep everything just the way they are, right? The link on there, it's a Twitter link to me. It's always been Twitter. It'll always be Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants me to call it, I ain't calling it that. That's on you, bro. I'm calling it Twitter because it's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day, right? Then a link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group, all right? It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. We have over 8,400 members in the group. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in the group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. With all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, well, it was nothing, no OTAs today. That little bit of a, I guess, the day off. Next week's a big one. Next week, that's when they get the 4, right? But we do have Thursday and Friday, there'll be some OTAs. And I said then there'll be 4 more, and then mandatory minicamp. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Mandatory now. All right, so we're getting down. So today's the 29th, soon to be the 30th, right? So a couple days. That's when we had the Darren Waller watch on, right? Because if they cut him after June 1st, they'll save themselves a lot of money. There'll be a little bit of dead cap money, like $2.7 million, I think it is. But yeah, like $2.7 million in dead cap money. But they're going to save themselves over $11 million So that would wind up being huge for them. And I think I said this in the video last night. Unless they went out and made some type of big splash, free agent wise, right? Because they ain't got a lot of money left. I think Patty Traynor said, and I think I said this in the video last night too, so I apologize, but I think the Giants are the worst, or have the least amount of cap space as of right now, right? So, but if Waller were to retire, right, between Waller's money, the savings that they get from Waller, and what they have, the small amount of money they have as far as cap money right now, between the two, that should give them enough, hopefully, to last the season, which would be really good because they wouldn't have to touch Andrew Thomas's contract. They could leave Bobby Okereke's contract alone, and I don't think they want to touch Daniel Jones's contract. I think with like 825-foot pole, Shane I don't think wants to touch that. Once again, because if need be, they can get out of his contract after this season. They'll have some dead cap money they'll have to eat next season, but they'll also save themselves some money too. Right? So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to want to wait and see. I'm still kind of interested to hear about like what's going on with Darius Slayton. He showed up Tuesday for the OTAs. I don't know if you're ever going to find out exactly what happened. Why all of a sudden, why'd he show up? I mean, obviously him, by his agent, Shane did some talking. I don't know if they're going to be doing anything with the contract. Who knows? But got 2 more OTAs and then 4 next week, and then the 3-day mandatory mini camp, and then poof, they're gone for whatever, like a month. But when they come back, it's on. It's on. So exciting. I'll tell you what, as I said, I've said this before. I said this is like actually like in July. Very big, like July 4th is like one of my favorite. I mean, I like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Those holidays right there, because it's around obviously the holidays, but with family and all of that. And those are my favorite, without question. But I said like July 4th is because it's just before the beginning. So you got I mean it's still, you still got the anticipation going, because like once the season starts, it's like bam, 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 bam. The weeks just like, for me anyway, just fly by. The first preseason game's getting ready, and then before you know it, the third preseason game's over with. It's like, what the hell happened to preseason? What? Huh? What? And then week 1 kicks off and it's cool, and then before you know it, you're on week 6 already. It's like, a third of the season's over with? What? Already? What? And then like you blink your eyes and like, you're in week 12 or 13. It's like, what the is going on? It just flies by so fast. So I like right around July 4th because, we haven't started the season yet, but you're getting really close. You got like about 2 weeks or so, so it's, so you just before the start of the season. So I always like that. I said, because it seems like when you get, the older you get, the faster time flies by. It's amazing. And I said, once these seasons start, it's just like before you know it, they're over with. So I like it just before, because it doesn't matter. The Giants could have, I mean, if you get the little kid inside of you, everybody's 0-0. Everybody's got Super Bowl aspirations. Well, if tell you what, if the secondary steps up this year and gets some interceptions, and the defensive line can hold its own and maybe get some pressures from maybe if this happens, and maybe I tell you what, we can maybe get those voices inside. I tell you what, if the offensive line starts opening up some holes, we got some good running back. I think we can score some points. So you always got that, You try to, tamper down your expectations and all that and everything. But there's always sometimes a little kid inside of you, I don't know. I think this could be our year. I was saying the same thing last year. It was like, and of course, I said this before. I had to pick the Giants to win the first game of the season against the Cowboys. I don't know. I think I think we caught the Cowboys. I think I forgot what I had the score at, maybe 24-23 or something like that. But I had the Giants winning. And then, of course, we lost 1,242-0. So, I mean, that kind of shot that to heck, right? But I was like, just before the season starts, it's the anticipation. It's just, ooh, you know what I mean? Because all these months, everything builds up and builds up and builds up. And it's like, it's very exciting. Maybe the Giants can catch a little bit of luck this season and stay healthy. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice just to see what this team can do if healthy? It would just be nice. So far, as I said, this actually past couple videos, after OTAs, after the OTA, there's no contact, ain't no tackling, and all like that. But hey, we're talking the Giants here, right? Guy's walking on the field, boom, blows his ACL out. He's out for we're talking Giants and injuries. That's just hand in hand, right? So far, I haven't really heard anything, it's on the injury report. So good, because how many times have we had guys just running, and boom, ACL's out, gone. Guys, he got carried off on the cart. Yeah, his season looks like it's over. It wasn't looking too good. Yeah, he went down. He was down for about an hour. Yep. Yeah. So-and-so's out probably for the season. Haven't heard any of that yet. Really, wouldn't it be just nice if, every team gets injuries, but why do we, seems like every year the Giants get the lion's share of the injuries? Why is that? Wouldn't it be nice to see what this team could do, right? I'm not saying we're not going to the Super Bowl this season, but wouldn't it be nice to see what we can do as a record-wise? It's a very, very fair schedule we have. Very fair. We got some tough games. We got some tough teams, right? We're playing the AFC, the teams are playing over there. Tough games, right? We got the one game out in Seattle. Well, we got some winnable games, too. We got some, we got 9 home games, 8 on the road, but it's the same thing as it was 2 seasons ago, right? 9 at home, 8 on the road, but one of the road games was across the pond. Green Bay was the home team in England. Nah, that's a wash. That's a road game for ball. I don't care. The Green Bay Packers are the home team in Wembley Stadium. They're running out. They're the home team. Get that, dude. That ain't Lambeau Field, pal. You got some cheeseheads in the stands. You're going to have some Giant fans in the stands. That's a wash. So it's just like with the Giants, right? We got 9 at home, 8 on the road, but one of them is in Germany. So basically, and that one's a wash. Okay? So we got 9 home games. We got like 7 on the road. And we only have 3 what did we have? Was it 37 primetime games last season we had? Out of 17 games, I think 37 were on the prime times. We only have 3 I'm still scratching my head because I scratched it a lot, as you can tell over the years. So that's why there's not much left, right? I don't know how we're playing the Cowboys 2 times on Thursday. I just don't. That doesn't compute. Not much computes in my brain, but I just don't quite understand. But anyway, it's a very, very fair schedule. So we got some tough games, and we got some easy games. We got a lot of games at home. If we can stay healthy, this would be a very good indication of what the Giants, what direction we're going in. Okay, so I really like it. It's going to be very, 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 very exciting. Very, very exciting. Right? We had some additions, we had some subtractions, but I'll see where we're going. And I keep saying is that let's see what we do after this season, and then give Shane and company, right, next offseason, the free agency and the draft. And let's see what kind of team we have after that. Because that I think that'd be pretty fair to him. And let's see what we're looking like after that. All right, but this is one thing that was very interesting. And I tell you what, this is, all 32 teams ranked by their average RAS score. Where did the Giants land? Well, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you, Giants ranked pretty high with the RAS scores. But there's a little, something, a little theme kind of going on here, right? Especially the upper echelon of the NFC East. Okay, so very, very interesting here. I got this here. This is Giants Wire. Who is this? It looks like Dan Benton, maybe. So he went out of his way to rank all the teams by their RAS score, which would not be easy to do. An average, not be easy to do. So God bless this guy. Let me tell you freaking what. This is some cool stats we got here. So the Giants, under the regime of General Manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll, have sought to improve the overall speed, strength, and athleticism of the roster. Basically, it's obviously you want football players, you want this, you want that, but what seems like what he's doing, he's bringing in athletes, and not only so much that, but as he's kind of been learning. Okay, hey, you live and learn. You make some mistakes, you learn from them, you move on, okay? But you try not to make the same mistakes, obviously, twice, right? Hey, he's a first-time general manager. He's going to make some boo-boos. He's going to make some mistakes, right? But you learn from them, and you move on, right? And, so he's bringing in athletes. Now it seems like he's bringing, some, like, I would say, high-caliber captains, athletes, but now we're starting to see healthy athletes. Okay, it's not like, well, I tell you what, this guy's pretty good. I mean, he did, he missed 37 games in his college career. He blew his knee out 14 times. We're not doing that. So he's bringing healthy athletes. So, with few exceptions, they brought in players who rank highly on the RAS score scale. That was especially true during the 2024 NFL draft, when they selected players who weren't just among the top of the class, but were a few who were near the top of all time. Not just, Theo Johnson. Yeah, I tell you, his RAS score this season was, not too bad. No, we're talking epic. We're talking all-time high. Okay? And to get the freaking guy in the third round or fourth round, I mean, not saying he's going to be Kittle, not saying he's going to be a Kelsey, not saying he's going to be a Gonzalez or, right? But freakish athlete, 6'6". Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read the article long enough. Let's see. Tight end Theo Johnson is the prime example of that, ranking 9th overall at his position since the RAS tracking began in 1987. And the Giants got him in the 4th round. 9th. Okay, I'm too much of an idiot. 24, 13, 37 years. Since the 37, 38 drafts ago, whatever. 9th all time. But how does the Giants roster stack up against the other 32 NFL teams? Well, here's exactly where the Giants rank in the average RAS among the rest of the league. Now, I'll tell you what, the Rams were worst. Number 32, 6.66. Okay. So I'm just gonna like scroll real fast here, but I'm gonna get to the top 10. I'm just gonna go right to the top 10. Okay, so instead of going over every one. Okay, well, I lied. We'll get to number 11. Number 11 is the Cowboys. Okay, 7.52. So good athletic players. That's what they have. Okay, the Giants are starting to infiltrate some of them, into their team. All right, Jerry Jones has been kind of doing this like maybe for a long period of time. good athletes, good players at their position, but I'm sorry, good players at their specific individual positions, but very good athletes as well. All right. One of the reasons why, they every year they just keep winning football games. Because they don't do it. They don't do it in the playoffs, though. I love it. But yeah, you can't deny them. Let's hope this year they slip a little bit, which would be cool. The only thing I don't like about them slipping a little bit is that they might elevate the Eagles a little bit. That I don't like. But you got to give them. They very good athletes to have on that team, without question. You got to give them that. All right. So the Cowboys are number 11. All right, number 10, the Falcons, 7.53. They're starting to come up. Let me tell you what, they have themselves a very nice roster. They do have a very nice roster. With the addition of Cousins, I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I think that he might have been the kind of, their quarterbacks might have been kind of like maybe the missing piece. I still think they're a little weakish on defense. They always seem to, lean toward the offense, but we'll have to see. But the Falcons are definitely an improved team. Number 9, the Browns, 7.57. The Steelers, 7.63. The Packers, 7.69. The Saints, 7.72. Now, the Giants, 7.75. 5th overall. Okay. Now, let's not forget, Shane came in, right? And some of these guys are from, he's bringing in guys, okay? But there's a lot of the guys he's drafting, some very, very impressive RAS scores that he's drafting. He's only had 3 drafts. Okay. And the first one was kind of almost like on the fly. He's kind of, I'm the new general manager. Oh, no, in 2 weeks we got the draft. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we'll try to draft some. So he's had 2 really good, solid drafts. Not that the one for years ago was horrible, but, But he's really starting to draft some guys with some RAS scores. But that leaves out one of the teams in the NFC East that we're trying to catch. Number 4, Jacksonville Jaguars, 7.8. The Jets, 7.88. Now, they're just a quarterback away once again. I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl, but they have a phenomenal defense. If they can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, they can certainly win double-digit games. If they can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles, 8. RAS score of 8. And then number 1 is the Colts, 8.39. Now they need a quarterback. Or they need good play from their quarterback position. Richardson got injured last season. If you took like a top-notch quarterback and put him on some of these teams, they would have very good records. Some of these teams are just like maybe just kind of missing a quarterback, like maybe what the Falcons are, whatever, right? But the Colts, 8.39. That's like blowing almost everybody else away. The Eagles are an 8, and they're number 2. The Colts are 8.39. So you know what the Colts are looking at. They're obviously 8.39 by far. They're the number 1 team, right? The RAS score, but the Giants are number 5. So and it certainly shows without question. As you look and at their draft, G-Man, what's up, brother? How's it going, pal? But you can certainly see without question. A lot of the guys that have been drafting, the RAS scores are like, so smart, tough, dependable. Injury, the guys don't have a laundry list of injuries coming out of college. And they're good, good athletes, right? Like Trey Hawkins. Okay, he struggled. He looked like the second coming of Deion Sanders in training camp last year. It's like, man, this guy's good. Oh my goodness! Wow, what a steal! Then you get to the regular season. He's like, oh, he's not quite as good as we thought he was, but he's a good athlete. right? I think Javarius Owens, I think he's a very good athlete too. So, the worst comes to worst, maybe the guys maybe, may not be the top notch at their position, but they're good fundamental athletes. So, that seems to be huge for Shane. So, I would much rather have the Giants be at the top of this list, number 5. That's pretty good, right? Than at the bottom. Now, let's not forget, Howie Roseman with the Eagles, right? He's been with I don't know how long it's been. He's been with the Eagles for a while. Shane just had 3 drafts, right? And I said the first one was kind of like on the fly. He's coming in. I'm the new GM. Oh, hey, you're my new scout. You're my scouts. Hey, you're my scouts. Okay, go out and let's see what we get. So the last 2 years, he has some, he had some very, very good drafts. He had plenty of time, to see the players. Because when he came in, because let's not forget, we had the draft this year in 2024. He's the GM of the Giants. Well, during the 2023 season, he's out flying around the country on Saturdays looking at talent, right? Same thing in the 2023 draft. In 2022, the college season, he was out flying around the country looking at talent. Now, in the 2022 draft, his first draft, I don't know how much he was flying around the country in 2021 with the Bills. I don't know, right? But he's starting to get the way he wants things done, and so he's starting to put his stamp on this roster. So as I said, let's see what happens next season. But the way it's looking, whoever we wind up drafting next season, you can probably almost guarantee a couple things. 1, they're going to be relatively healthy, okay, and 2, they're going to be some pretty good athletes, right? And one thing is. It seems like it's really, really starting to be key nowadays is versatility. Especially on the offensive line, but the wide receivers, putting the guys in multiple positions, and versatility is very, very important. Even in the secondary, right? Is very important. So, like I said, I'd rather have the Giants at the top of the RAS scale instead of the bottom. All right, then, unfortunately, possibility says this is from Giants Country. Patty Trainer. Giants could be in the final year of OTA program if the NFL Players Association proposal goes through. That is a possibility. The National Football League has become a year-round spectacle thanks to the glorification of free agency, the draft, the offseason programs, training camp, and regular season and postseason. Basically, you got 1 month off. You got I forgot what the heck it is. It's basically the middle of June till the middle of July. You got 1 month off. Other than that, it's on. It's either you got the regular season, and you got the postseason, then you got the combine, the free agency, you got the draft, and you got the OTAs, you got the mini camps, mandatory mini camp, they said then you got the 1 month off, but then you got training camp, you got the preseason games, it's the regular, so it's always almost something going on. Out of 12 months, you got 1 month off, or it's there's really nothing. But, but that might change. But as the league looks to expand I think they're trying to expand to 312 games in a season because they're not making enough money. And also looks to expand its reach globally. A key part of the offseason could be going the way of the dinosaur if the NFL Players Association has its way. And, I could say, the one thing is, it's you just can't keep adding freaking games without, okay, you want more games? All right, well, we need something else. Obviously, some of it's money, but if they're going to give them more games, they got to maybe take away some training camp or something or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see maybe what winds up happening, especially if the 18-game schedule does come to fruition. That would be the OTAs, which are currently taking place across all 32 teams' landscapes. According to NFL Network reporter Tom Pelissero, the NFL Players Association is lobbying for the elimination of OTAs perhaps as soon as next season, in exchange for an earlier training camp reporting date that could see players report between mid-June or early July instead of 15 days prior to their first preseason game, which is currently the case. So basically, instead of like showing up, whatever, July 20th, they might show up July 10th. Get like 10 extra days of training camp in instead of having 10 days of OTAs spread out over 3 weeks. Now, the one thing with that, I mean, it goes good and bad, because it's like with the training camp, you get more involved. You can get some hitting. You can get some contact in there in those 10 days of training camp. The OTAs, it's more like with the Giants, it's more like a teaching. Right? I mean, they go out there and they run around, but there's no contact, right? Let's see. What the heck we got here? So we'll have to wait and see. According to Pelissero, the Players Union has sought the feedback of its members regarding the change, and there is growing support for the idea. The proposed change is reminiscent of the days when training camps were 8 weeks long and OTAs, which first came into existence in the 1990s, didn't exist. But also back in those days, training camps were structured more differently than they are today. Many teams held 2-a-day practices, and there was a larger preseason schedule. In addition, the early part of the longer training camp often devoted a couple of weeks toward weight training, which today is the first phase of the off-season program. To an extent, eliminating the OTAs would make sense given there is a 6-week downtime between the end of OTA period and the start of training camp, in which the players currently have a 5-day ramp-up period built into the start of camp. The 3 phases that currently exist for the off-season program could all be folded into a larger training camp period, which the actual OTAs, phase 3, where offense is allowed to go against defense, becoming the padded part of the training camp practice. But if this change were to indeed happen, the rules governing the number of padded practice permitted would also probably have to be adjusted accordingly, especially if in the future the preseason gets reduced from 3 games down to 2, because you go to 18 games. There's always like 20. Back when I first started watching, there was 14 regular season games, but there was 6 preseason games. Then in 1978, it went up to 16 regular season games, and then it went down to 4 preseason games. Now we're going up to 17 games, right? Now then we go down to 3 preseason games. So then, of course, you go up to 18 preseason games. You go down to 18 regular season. You go to 2 preseason games. So it's always like the magical number is always like 20. Whether it's 14-6, 16-4, 17-3 and 8, or 18-2, the magical number, combine them all, is 20. So the other issue, of course, is player safety. I mean, how many games do you need? We need 342 games in a season. Why? Well, because it's all about the Benjamins. That's why. Well, but now you're jeopardizing the health of the players. I mean, everybody's maybe making some more money. Woo! But now you're taking in one season. Now, because we went from 16, basically might be going up to 18. Now you're putting 2 extra regular games in a season, adding on to the player, right? The wear and tear. What does that mean over the course of, say, 4, 5, 6 seasons? Extra couple games every season. Well, might have some wear and tear effect on it. Might shorten the career of a player. Maybe. The other issue is player safety, which the league continues to claim to be cognizant of. Typically, early summer temperatures and humidity can soar to the point of the air quality not being healthy enough for outdoor aerobic activity. But again, in the 3 phases of the offseason program were rolled into this 6 to 8 week period, with most teams having a climate-controlled practice facility. This probably wouldn't be that drastic of a change. Further, a longer off season would allow players, particularly those whose teams advance deep into the postseason or those who are recovering from any sort of injury, to have a longer recovery time from any injury suffered the previous season, which is true. That's true. Because a lot of guys like Evan Neal, right? You have off-season, a surgery. You need time to recuperate, right? Daniel Jones, right? It's an interesting proposal with pros and cons, and one we're curious to see if it gets passed by both sides. Now, once again, it's things happen. It is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. The OTAs might go by the wayside, so we'll have to wait and see. I just been kind of used to the way things have been, nowadays. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I hope they always keep the players' safety in mind. It's just, once again, I'm an old fart. I'm used to, the 14 games. To me, 14 games was cool. I said the only reason why they're adding more games is because they make more money. But you add more games. I mean, you just add more wear and tear on players, and it is what it is. But I mean, the guys are certainly getting compensated for it. That's for sure. All right, and then we got this is from Ed Valentine. Here's one way to measure positional value in the NFL. Now, this is interesting. Right, very, very interesting. He did. I guess he did some research on this one, but this kind of shows you, the positional value. One of the things that the Giants have been, they've been trying. Okay, but one of the things that like the Eagles and the Cowboys have had for however many years over the Giants, trenches. Stuff starts in the trenches, right? Cowboys, they've lost a couple offensive, Biotish, Smith left, Biotish, but how many years have we been talking about the Cowboys with that unbelievable offensive line, right? Their defensive front, they've got a lot of guys who can blitz, rush the quarterback and all. The Eagles, they had 1,342 sacks 2 seasons ago. Their offensive line is unbelievable, right? And the Giants are always down at the bottom of the division looking up at these two teams, right? The trenches, right? So, and I said he must have done, Ed Valentine must have done some good research on this here. Positional value is a real thing in the NFL. Teams value some positions more than others, absolutely, which is a big part of the reason why Saquon Barkley, a running back, is no longer a member of the New York Giants. Now, he's just kind of like the cherry on the top for the Eagles, because they got a good offensive line. They have a good quarterback, nice tight end. They got 2 phenomenal wide receivers. He's just like the cherry on top for the Eagles, the good running back. But for the Giants, trying to build, right, doing the running back by committee kind of thing. He was basically luxury or whatever that, I think Shane's like maybe kind of, setting his ways, I guess, right? Doing the running back by committee. We don't want to be spending 10, 12 million, 13 million on one running back, right? In what order, though, do NFL teams rank or value positions? Some work in the Athletics Scoop City newsletter offers some insight into current positional value thinking in the NFL front offices. The Athletic looked at how salaries by position have risen in relationship to the salary cap. Since 2014, the cap in that decade has gone up 92%. Wow. Jeez. The list below is based on the player with the highest average annual salary in each position. Not a cumulative average annual salary for all players of the top 10 positions at that position. Below, the positions at which the salary to the highest paid player has grown more than the salary cap. Okay, so now the number one is below the positions at which the salary to the highest paid player has grown more than the salary cap. Okay. Defensive tackle has grown 151.9% increase compared to the salary cap. Defensive tackle, right? Number two, hard to argue, quarterback. I mean, the toughest position in all sports, period. Quarterback. Can't complain about that. And that's one thing the Giants have been struggling with. We're not sure. Is Daniel Jones, is he the quarterback? Can we win with him? Is he? Is he not? We've been kind of up in the air for, a few years now with Daniel Jones. But anyway, quarterback. The next position number 3 is offensive line. Has gone up 143.5% compared to the salary cap. Edge rusher has gone up 104.8% compared to the salary cap, right? And the other one, shockingly, I didn't think would be, linebacker has gone up 100%. So basically, it's gone up evenly with the salary cap. Linebacker. So you'll notice you take the quarterback out. Everybody is in the trenches there. You got the two inside linebackers, the couple defensive tackles. You got your edge rusher. Basically, whatever you want to say, six positions there in defense. Not the safeties, not the cornerbacks. I was surprised, not the cornerbacks. I thought I'm thinking wide receivers or cornerbacks. Nope. In the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line with the edge rushers and the linebackers. In the trenches. That's what's gone up more than the salary cap. Right? Now, the ones below, the positions at which the average annual value for the highest paid player has grown more slowly than the salary cap. Okay, so this is, I think, since 2014 they're talking about. Safety has only gone up 75%. The value of the safety compared to the salary cap. Tight end has gone up 71%. Right, so the salary cap's gone up like 100%. I guess they said the tight end's only gone up like 71%. Wide receiver, 70.2%. Now, I would have thought wide receiver would have been high, but according to this, no, 70.2%. Cornerback only gone up 31.3%. I was shocked at that one compared to what the salary cap has gone up over the past, I think, 10 years. And, of course, the bottom one is running back. The salary cap has gone up, and the running back is, we know the running back market is not what it used to be. Here are the athletics takeaways. There are a few surprises, none bigger than the salary of the top inside linebacker rising faster than the salary cap. Yeah, I mean, shocking. From Patrick Willis's $10 million APY in 2014, all right, to Roquan Smith's current pay of $20 million. So we've seen a 100% increase in the top end salary despite that position being regularly snubbed in the draft. Yeah, really. I mean, how often do we got like a middle linebacker being taken in the top 10? Oh, top 5. Oh, this middle linebacker, man. This guy's unbelievable. He's going to be maybe top 3. No. Nope. Nope. Right? Just one has been drafted in the first 2 rounds in 2024. Just one was drafted in the first 2 rounds. So, I mean, given the common narrative, it's not surprising to see running backs at the lowest mark. But were you expecting to see cornerback growth so slow? Shocking. Cornerback growth has gone so slow. After we saw many veteran safeties cut this offseason, that would have been my candidate for the second lowest growth. But no, receiver growth is surprisingly in line with the tight ends as well, too. That's shocking. The biggest takeaway, the NFL values the trenches. As defensive tackle and offensive line standouts saw the biggest increases in pay, with the former growing even more quickly than the quarterbacks. The defensive tackle, their value, their amount of money has been growing faster than quarterbacks. That's shocking. But, see, the thing is, it's like obviously it's an offensive league, right? Passing league, right? I mean, all the rules are, tilted in the favor of the offense. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these days they got to make the defensive players count to like 5 Mississippi. Well, we don't have enough scoring, so we're going to blindfold all the defensive players. At the snap of the ball, they got to count to 5 Mississippi. Then they can take the blindfolds off. Then they can react. It just seems like everything is all tilted in the offensive. We need more points. We're not scoring 300 points a game. It's too boring. We need a touchdown on every play. So everything is tilted in the offensive favor, right? So what do? You got to value the defense. You got to get those stud defensive tackles, the edge rushers, the cornerback, So and down here says Valentine's view. It's absolutely apparent how much the league values the offensive line and the defensive front. 7, including inside linebacker. Well, there's no more defensive 7, defensive front 7. I mean, you got 2 defensive tackles, you got 2 edge rushers, and you got 2. If you got 7 guys there, I mean, it means you got 2 safeties and 2 cornerbacks. It's like, who's your third cornerback going to be? So, but anyway, while inside linebackers is often an interchangeable position, I mean, a lot of times, maybe you might have a safety, might have 3 safeties. One of them walks into the box, right? The 100% increase in the top AAV shows that the NFL recognizes the difference-making ability of the top players at the position. It is why the Giants paid Bobby Okereke $40 million over 4 years, and he's only making $10 million a season, right? Whew. The guy's everywhere, making tackles all over the place, and he played every snap last season. He only got paid $10 million. Whew. I think we owe the dude some freaking money, to be honest with you. It was surprising to see that cornerback salaries have risen so slowly. I am shocked about that. I mean, you got these freakish athletes coming out, a wide receiver, and what we're paying the cornerbacks is not rising very fast. I'll tell you that much. With only running back salaries inching up at a slower pace than the cornerbacks. Shocking. While safety salaries have jumped, we saw the residual effect of that this offseason with a number of teams cutting high-paid safeties and the Giants refusing to enter a bidding war over Xavier McKinney. Yep. But that just goes to show you. I mean, it's, the trenches, that's what, right, wrong, or whatever. It just goes to show you. I mean, obviously the quarterback position, that's gone up a lot, but the trenches, the offensive line, because, I mean, it's not, I don't want to sound like too much of a jackwagon, but I'm going to. I mean, if you give me enough protection and you give me a ball, right, and you get some of this, sooner or later I'll complete a pass if you give me enough time in the pocket. Same thing here, right? If I'm a running back and you give me a big enough hole, I'll even gain a yard. Right? I mean, that they say it's like, you can have Deion Sanders in the secondary. You have them, ask them to cover these freakish wide receivers nowadays for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Somebody's going to get open. If you got one of these quarterbacks today, right? And these quarterbacks today are pretty darn gone good. Okay. Let them stand in the pocket long enough. Somebody's going to get open. It might be just a check down, but somebody's going to get open. Guarantee you. So the trenches, right? The Giants have done a very good job, building up the trenches. We did lose Leo the Lion. I hope we can replace him next season. That would make me happy. I mean, just think of it. Kayvon, Burnsy, Sexy, and somebody next to Sexy. That'd be a nice foursome. Nice. We're trying with the offensive line. I mean, Gettleman tried, right? He brought in a bunch of guys. Just didn't work out. Now, whether that was bad choices of draft picks, bad free agent choices, bad coaching, Shane's trying. Now, once again, whether it's bad drafts, bad coaching, we're trying. So, but you can see, I mean, right? I mean, Not very often are you going to have an exceptional team, especially go to the Super Bowl and stuff like that with a bad offensive line, right? I said, you always look at the Giants are down here at the bottom, looking up at who? The Eagles and the Cowboys. How you guys doing up there? You guys are 1-2 in the division. How you doing? Oh, but that's right. You got some good offensive line play, right? Yeah. So the trenches. So. All right, next one. What we got here? Now, I was shocked. Well, once again, this is somebody else's view and all that. But I'll tell you what. Apparently, according to this report here, the Giants actually upgraded at backup quarterback. All right. I mean, compared to where Drew Lock's at, compared to where Tyrod Taylor's at, we upgraded. Okay. All right. Giants got a little bit of love, so I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Once again, from Patty Trainer. She does a lot of writing, I'll tell you. Giants upgraded their backup quarterback spot according to new rankings. Drew Lock placed within the top 10 of the league's 32 backup quarterbacks, far ahead of Tyrod Taylor. It's often been said that the NFL, the most important player on the roster is the backup quarterback because he's always one snap away from having his number called. Fortunately for the Giants, they have a solid backup in Drew Lock, according to a new ranking of the league's top understudies. Gilberto Manzano of SI put together the list of backups league-wide, and Lock of the Giants took a quantum leap in the rankings, jumping from number 17 last year, to number 7 this year. I'm sorry, he went up 10 spots. He went up 10 spots. I thought he was number 10. Notes Manzano of his ranking, Locks kept the Seahawks' playoff hopes alive by guiding them to a victory against the Eagles to snap a 3-game losing streak. Lock might be suited for the backup life with how quickly he can get hot on the field. He'll now get to push Daniel Jones in practices with the Giants. What's interesting about Lock is that some analysts believe that at some point this season, he will take over for Jones, who's clearly in a make-or-break year and has an unsettling injury history. Lock signed to a 1-year deal worth $5 million, also has playing time and performance incentives built into his deal that if he were to reach them, he could earn an additional $2.5 million. Lock earned a higher ranking on Manzano's list than Tyrod Taylor did. I was surprised, but the Giants' backup each of the last 2 seasons who signed with the Jets is to be Aaron Rodgers' understudy in the offseason. Now, it's weird because Tyrod Taylor's going to someplace and he's actually younger than the starting quarterback. Taylor was ranked 14th a year ago. He went back a few. But this year, he dropped to number 19. Still, he is deemed an upgrade over Zach Wilson. Oh, yeah, the Jets' previous backup quarterback. 4 one-time starting quarterbacks, including Seattle's Sam Howell, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, and Gardner Minshew, were ranked ahead of Lock, a one-time starter for the Denver Broncos who lost out on the Seahawks starting job to Geno Smith in 2022. Rookie first-round pick Michael Penix Jr. is also ranked ahead of Lock, as he'll start this season as the backup to Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I'm not feeling that, but what we got here? Sitting atop the list is Jake Browning of the Bengals, who last year stepped in for starter Joe Burrow and recorded a record of 4-3 as a starter while completing 70.4% of his pass attempts and throwing for 1,936 yards and 12 touchdowns for the Bengals, who finished 9-8 in the last place in the AFC North. Well, put him in there, right, with the Giants' offensive line and the Giants' offensive receivers. Let's not give him Higgins or Jamar Chase, and let's see what his pass completion percentage is. Let's give him an absolute sieve of an offensive line, and let's see how good he does. But he did do good last year. That's for sure. That is for sure. But let's see. We got the rankings here. I said, Tyrod Taylor's number 19. He was 14, so he went back 5 spots. Taylor has had a solid career as a reliable backup who tends to protect the football and runs an offense efficiently. He might play it too safe at times, but he rarely makes his coaches. Wilson's performance last year after Aaron Rodgers went down. All right, so then we go to number 7, Drew Lock. Wow, Giants getting some love. He was number 17. So he went down 10 spots, or he moved up 10 spots, however you want to look at it. Locke kept the Seahawks playoff hopes alive by guiding them to a victory over the low-life, worthless piece of garbage Philadelphia Eagles to snap a 3-game losing streak. Locke might be suited for the backup life with how quickly he can get hot on the field, but his lows caused him to flame out as a starter with the Broncos. He'll now get to push Daniel Jones in practices for the Giants, and hey, he has a chance. He has a shot at possibly becoming the starting quarterback. So we'll have to wait and see. This is a make or break for Jones. He's the offensive line should be improved with the coaching, with healthy players, with the coaching. The offensive line should be improved. The wide receivers we have should get open. He's kind of running out of reasons, excuses, this is that's and all of that. I mean, one of the things if he gets injured again, he can't stay injured. He can't stay injury free. So he might have to go. We'll have to wait and see. But if he can't move the ball with these receivers, right, he's kind of run out of excuses. So, but I think once again, the injury bug, right? If we can stay relatively healthy, I think he's, I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl, we're going to put up 30 points a game and all like that, but our numbers should go up without question. What were we, like 15 points a game last season? Gave up 85 sacks. We should be a functionable offensive line, and we should have, if guys stay relatively healthy, we have weapons out there to. I'm not saying we're a top 5 wide receiving group or not like that, but we got some weapons out there. We should be able to move the ball. We should be able to put some points up, especially if Graham Gano seems like he might be coming back healthy, right? How many freaking times? All right, once again, I'm an idiot, right? About the 38, 37, get the ball down around the 37, drop back about 8 yards to the 45. Add 10 yards on because the posts are in the back of the end zone. How many times, right? Graham Gano from 54 yards out, and you just, it's like, you got the view from the end zone, and you got the goalpost like this, and you see him, he's 54 yards away, and the ball just kind of goes right in between the goalposts. It's like, damn, he made that look easy. Get the ball down to the 37. You got a good shot at getting some points, right? So, this is. I've said this before. I'm certainly not hoping the guy bombs out because why? Hey, let's put up 30 touchdown passes. Cool. I'm all for it, baby. But in the modern NFL, okay, I'm not talking about Phil Simms back in he gets drafted in 79, and by 1984, he finally stays healthy and starts making his mark. And in a modern NFL, this is like your 6th season. You don't have many quarterbacks on the same team for going into a 6th season. It's like, Dak Prescott, hasn't taken to a Super Bowl or anything like that, but his numbers are always usually up there. But it's like, with his injuries and sometimes he has some really good play and sometimes he has some bad play. In modern NFL, you don't usually have many quarterbacks, Well, we think he's the starter, right? He did pretty good last year. Well, then he got injured, but the year before, he's pretty good, right? I mean, usually, you get a couple years, and it's like it's either yes or no. There's no, well, man, I don't know, no. It's either yes or no. It's So he's got a lucky rabbit's foot inside, and he's holding on to it. So, but he is running out of time. All right, and finally, Joe Schoen. This is from Mike Fisher, Giants country. Where's Giants general manager Joe Schoen rank against all the other GMs? Well, not very impressive. Let me tell you what. It's not just a New York thing. The fortunes of an NFL GM are often tied to the fortunes he decided to pay his quarterback and whether that arrangement pays off. And for that reason, as NBC Sports' Patrick Daugherty, I guess, has ranked the GMs, with Joe Schoen getting a load of disrespect as the site places him at the 23rd spot. It's sort of been up to Daniel Jones to raise his GM's rating, which is basically, a lot of it's got to do with, the offensive line, and a lot of it's got to do with Daniel Jones, right? If he was able to draft Patrick Mahomes or something like that, hey, Shane would be looking great. But Shane came, we had Daniel Jones. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. Right. He was their after that, he was their best option. They gave him a deal, starting quarterback. They paid him, he's getting $40 million a year. A lot of other quarterbacks are making a lot more. Starting quarterbacks making a lot more. But you also kind of notice, he can get out after 2 seasons. Right. Not like with Jalen Hurts or some of these other contracts. They gave him a lot of guaranteed money, but they're kind of stuck with him for a little while. Daniel Jones, they can get out after 2 seasons. So the thing is that they get that they were to let Daniel Jones go. Where are they going to go next season? Unless they can revive the Drew Lock and he can be the guy. I don't know. Right now, I don't know what free agent quarterbacks are going to be on the market next season. The Giants do mediocre. Say they're 9-8. Just saying. They're going to be picking 17, 18, 19, 20. What phenomenal quarterback's going to fall to them at number 20 next season? Who knows? Can they draft somebody at number 20 and build them up? We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of it, is why he's getting to number 23? No, it's because of Daniel Jones. Plain and simple. Right? So, let's see here. That's a pointed way at looking at what happened. And if Jones' contract is to be remembered as a major error, and it does presently look that way, then Shane will likely pay for it in a way bigger than any media list. NBC writes that the G-men are in a 2024 holding pattern as they wait for Jones's contract to come off the books in 2025. And then they said, and there we disagree, okay? There isn't enough security for anybody around here to hold under Shane's supervision. The Giants need to get better, in part simply because that's their job. Writes NBC, it's just going to take someone other than Jones to make this a successful team. And while we understand the skepticism, we don't see it as a worthy or etching in stone yet. Let's see here. And I got this here. Joe Schoen ranked among the bottom of the NFL GMs. This is from, From the Sporting News. Going into his 3rd season as general manager, Joe Schoen is looking to lead the Giants out of the constant cycle they found themselves over the last decade. After making it to the playoffs and winning a wildcard game against the Vikings, the Giants took a major step back in 2023, finishing with a 2-11 record. But they don't mention anything that we had a 3rd-string quarterback in there. I'd love to see the Chiefs. Let's take the Kansas City Chiefs. Put a 3rd, give them all the injuries the Giants had. Give them the offensive line the Giants have. 85 sacks last season. Put a 3rd-string quarterback in there. Let's see him win the Super Bowl. They're not doing it. See, everybody seems like forget about that. The Giants took a step back, had a horrible season and all. Well, what team wouldn't take a step back, right? What team wouldn't? Let's not forget, we won 3 games with a third-string quarterback, right? And nobody seems to bring that up, so. As both Shane and Coach Dable enter their 3rd season leading Giants together, the former was ranked near the bottom of his peers at number 23. It's usually a good thing to make the playoffs in your first season as general manager, unless it forces you to pay Daniel Jones. Joe Shane took his Danny Dimes medicine, and the results were predictably disastrous even before Jones' 2023 season-ending torn ACL. That debacle has the G-men in a 2024 holding pattern as they wait for Jones' contract to come off the books in 2025. Though Shane has done a decent job building up the defense, Bobby Okereke was a strong 2023 free agent signing, while Brian Burns was an elite spring 2024 acquisition. Shane also invested in the offensive line with affordable John Runyon and Jermaine E. Luminor deals, and he made the easy call to select Malik Neighbors over number 6 overall in the draft. Shane pins are being set up. It's just going to take someone other than Jones to knock them down in 2025. Shane will have to choose wisely on the free agent, draft, trade, acquisitions that will go on to define his tenure. They say, I forget. He was given, the roster he was given was not awesome. Okay. He couldn't even shop at Kmart with the salary cap. He came in his salary cap hell. That's straight up, right? He couldn't even afford to keep James Bradberry because the salary cap situation was so bad. So he couldn't bring in any in his first season. He got like the Eagles and other teams are spending, millions and millions and millions of dollars bringing these free agents in. We couldn't bring in anybody, right? So, the thing is that, I understand, people talk about Daniel Jones and he did good. Right? He did. Right? He did good. Right? But a lot of some of his poor play last season was on him. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. At times I see the guy holding on the ball, missing, maybe not seeing a wide receiver down over here, maybe staring down his one wide receiver, dropping back to pass, staring. Okay, come on, turn around, baby. I got the ball. It's right here. So you turn around up front. I don't know how many times I've seen that. So he's got to get better. But, his offensive line play, it was horrible last season. I don't know who would have been successful last season with that offensive line. Would the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, would have he survived the season? I said Daniel Jones got injured twice. Tyrod Taylor got injured at least once, if not twice. Then we had Tommy DeVito in there, 3rd string court. So it was, the offensive line play was horrible. Some of it maybe was the guys that Shane brought in. Okay. But some of them might have been the coaching too. So I'm very anxious to see. Okay. What Carmen Basila can do. And I got some, I don't want to say high expectations, but some nice expectations. I don't want to say lofty or high. I don't want to say we're going from the 32nd overall and we're going to be in the top 10 or something like that. No, but I got, you got some good feelings about this. Like what Priscilla was able to do with the Raiders the past couple seasons. He was working with a lot less and he got a functionable offensive line. Come over here, right? He's got a 1st-round pick at offensive tackle, another 1st-round pick at offensive tackle. He's got a 2nd-round pick at center. I don't know if we're going to get a Zudu in there or not, but he was a 3rd-round pick. So we've got some high draft capital on our offensive line. Brought in a bunch of free agents as well too. Okay, so I got some, some nice hopes for the offensive line. I think we're going to make some nice strides. Now let's hope that we can maybe stay healthy, because John Michael Schmitz missed time last season with injury. Andrew Thomas, we know, 45 seconds into the Cowboy game, that blocked field goal, it pulls his hamstring. I mean, it's like Evan Neal was banged up last season. You know, we had a lot of injuries last season, so a lot of it's going to be dependent upon the injury bug, what happens to the Giants this season. But a lot of it is also going to depend, you know, Joe Schoen, his ranking as far as the GMs. A lot of it's tied to Daniel Jones, right? And if we do get rid of Daniel Jones, if we do, you know, who's going to replace him? Can Dable be the quarterback whisperer and get some really good play out of Drew Lock? We'll have to wait and see. But it can be interesting. But tomorrow got the OTAs. So that'd be what? OTA 5, and then Friday we got OTA 6. So the next 2 days we got some OTAs. So we'll have some stuff to talk about tomorrow. So it's been 1 hour and 10 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.